star. For to us a child is born, Prince of Peace.
A man had a quarrel with his wife, and they stopped talking to each other, and they started avoiding each other for 2 months while living under the same roof in the same house. Initially, it felt enjoyable. Yes, I'm not going to talk to her. I'm not going to talk to him. And they were enjoying it initially. But after a few days, they began to feel the strong desire to reconcile. But pride would not let any of them make the first move. The wife was waiting for the husband was waiting for the wife. And so they remained. But after 2 months, the husband decided to become creative about it. So in the middle of the night, the husband went into the kitchen and began to ransack the kitchen, turning plates, pots, cups, and glasses upside down, hitting one against the other. And then at the point, the wife, who could no longer take the noise, ran into the kitchen, angry, and screamed, "What, for God's sake, are you looking for here?" And the man turned to her, smiled, and said, "Thank you, honey. I have found it. It's your voice I've been looking for." Last Sunday, towards the end of my homily, I shared some words from St. Augustine, who said, "You have created us unto yourself, O God, and so our hearts are restless until they rest in you." In this world, we are on a journey from God back to God. And God has put in each one of us a strong desire, a strong yearning, a strong longing to be reunited with God, to be in full harmony with God. There is that yearning in me. There is also that longing in you to be reunited with God. And that also implies that there is a longing in you and a longing in me to be reunited with our neighbors. For if you are longing to be in God and I'm longing to be in God, it means also that we are longing to be one with one another. Even though sometimes we fight against this longing, even though sometimes we tend to deny this yearning in us, but it still remains. And we can only have true peace when we walk along the path that lead us to this harmony with God. In the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, there was the original innocence. When God created human beings and all other creatures, there was perfect communion between heaven and earth, between the Creator and creatures, and also among creatures. But after Adam and Eve sinned, there came the long distance between heaven and earth, mutual suspicions between God's creatures, and so began the trouble. In today's first reading, Isaiah shares a dream, a prophecy for a realization of that lost harmony, of that lost peace, that lost communion. And he shares this dream in terms of the wolf and the young sheep will be together. For the wolf will be a guest to the young sheep. The leopard and the young goat will lie down together. The young cow and the young lion will go in search of food together. And the beauty of it all is that a little child will be the one that will be guiding them. And on the question of when will this happen, Isaiah gives the answer in terms of the family of Jesse. He says, on that day, a shoot shall sprout from the stump of Jesse, and a bud shall blossom from its root. And the Spirit of the Lord shall be on him. And who is Jesse? Jesse was the father of King David. And you remember, God had promised King David that his dynasty shall last forever, and that the kings will always come from his family. But at a point, the descendants of David became stubborn, and they acted against the commandments of God. And so God decided to cut the family tree short. And so it became a stump. Now, the prophet Isaiah is giving the prophecy that God will revisit this family, and that tree that seemed to have been cut down, a new stem shall come up from it. And the fulfillment is found in Jesus, the one whose coming we are preparing for in Advent. For Jesus is the son of David. So Jesus will now be a fulfillment of that promise, of that prophecy. And in Jesus, we find a king that will last forever. And what will be the primary mission of this son of David, Jesus? It will be the mission of reconciliation. He will come to make sure that heaven and earth are reunited again, and that humanity is reunited to humanity. And that is well shown by the cross. You see Jesus hanging on the cross as a bridge between heaven and earth, as a bridge between one human being and another human being. So he came primarily for reconciliation, for a restoration of that harmony that was lost in the Garden of Eden. And that is why we can all be here together today. We are here from our different places. As a result of our differences in gender, differences in race, differences in political parties, and just keep naming them, ordinarily would have been enemies. But because Jesus has brought us together, we now see ourselves as brothers and sisters. And you can even look at one that you don't even know much about and refer to him as your father or your priest. And that is what Jesus has come for. The season of Advent is a season of hopeful expectation, a season when we prepare to make the best of this gift of reconciliation that Jesus has brought to us. And today, John the Baptist, in the gospel passage, calls us to make sure that we keep away anything that will fight against the realization of this special gift that Jesus has given to us. When some of the Pharisees and the Sadducees came to him, he made it clear to them, do not go about bragging with the name of Abraham. As evidence of your repentance, you have to bear good fruits yourself. And why did he say that? Among the Jews, many of them believed so much in the uniqueness of the goodness of Abraham. And they felt that they were entitled, that because of their connection with Abraham, they had arrived and everything was settled for them. Some of the Jews even believed that Abraham has a seat at the gate of hell, not inside, but outside. Doing what? That is there to be sure that if any Jew is mistakenly sent to hell, he will say, no, it's a mistake, my son, go back to heaven. And so for them, they were very confident that because they were connected to Abraham, heaven was sure for them. But today, John the Baptist is saying, no, you have to bear your own individual fruits. For us as Catholics, sometimes we can fall into the same trap. Our church is the original church. Jesus founded our church. Peter, the first pope, unbroken succession till Pope Francis. We brag about the sacraments we have received. I won't be surprised if some, for example, will look at me and will say, oh, he's a priest. He has no problem. Everything is settled for him. But John the Baptist will tell us that is not it. For some may even brag about the fact that all through their life, they went through Catholic schools. But John the Baptist again will say, if you do not bear fruits in your life, your Catholic identity is useless. Jesus has done the job for us, once and for all, that of reconciliation. But he does not impose it on us. The responsibility is on each and every one of us to get connected to this special gift that Jesus has brought to us. For even to this day, among Christians, among Catholics, we still have people who fight against this gift of harmony, the gift of reconciliation, because of our selfishness, because of hearts that make us sometimes to act like brood of vipers. There is need for us in this season of Advent to ask for pardon and to reevaluate our lives. Remember, Christmas is the birthday of Jesus, and we need to prepare a special gift for the birthday boy. And the best gift we can give to this birthday boy is to turn to him and to reassure him that what he did on the cross of Calvary is not a waste. And the way to go about it is, for this Christmas, just think of one person, that family member or that friend that you have stopped talking to, that you have given up on, that you have said never again. And for the sake of Christ, take the initiative, even if you were the one offended. Make the first move, get reconciled with the person, and the birthday boy will be happy with you, and then it will truly be Christmas for you.
Upon the advent of the King, sorrows will fade and tears will cease.